I'll turn it ready then. Great. Years ago, children walked around in desolation and despair, tormented by boredom in a vast black and white world. Refrigerators sat forlorn and bare in cold and colorless kitchens, all for the lack of a cylindrical object. Though this object has greatly impacted us and the world, many forget completely to appreciate its valuable existence. This priceless object is the crayon. There are many ways that crayons have impacted our lives, and we will be looking at this later on. However, for the lack of time, this point will be mainly focusing on how crayons have impacted our artistic lives. First, however, so we can get a better understanding of the crayon itself, we'll be taking a look at the history of the crayon and some different crayon uses and users.
23 years ago, Edwin Finney and C. Harold Smith brought forth a new crayon, manufactured with non-toxic materials and dedicated to the fact that all children like to eat things.
It was in fact Edwin Finney and C. Harold Smith that manufactured the first children's crayon. Ironically, the first crayon that was ever produced was not meant for children at all. In fact, the first crayon ever wasn't even made out of wax. It was composed of charcoal and oil. It wasn't until later they discovered that by replacing the oil with wax, it came out with a much sturdier crayon. Now, we don't know when these first wax crayons were produced, but we do know that somewhere around 1887, Finney and Smith manufactured a new wax-based crayon for marking crates and barrels. However, it was filled with carbon black, which was generally used for making rubber gloves and much too toxic for children. Now, keep in mind that up till this point, there still wasn't a successful children's crayon production. Although Finney and Smith's crayon probably came the closest, it still had two drawbacks when it came to being a child-friendly crayon. One, it was extremely toxic, and two, the only color was black. And what sort of kid wants to draw a black flamingo? So Finney and Smith went to work on a non-toxic yet colorful wax drawing medium, and in 1903, they produced the first ever children's color crayons, packaged them in a box of 8 and sold them for a nickel. Now, slightly before these crayons were produced, Finney and Smith founded the Crayola Company. Thus, the new crayons were surnamed Crayola crayons. The best part about these new Crayola crayons was that Finney and Smith had at last discovered a method to make them non-toxic. This means that now you could consume them and not die. Today, Crayola alone produces approximately 6 million crayons a day, or 2 billion crayons a year. This is an adequate amount of crayons to circle the globe 4.5 times. Because of all these crayons, the world we live in today is a much more colorful place. In fact, a popular theory created by me is that before crayons were invented, the entire world was black and white. Although this may sound unbelievable, the evidence is overwhelming. For example, we see that before crayons were invented, all motion pictures were black and white. Then, in 1903, the first crayon was produced, and shortly after that, in 1918, the first motion picture with colorful scenery. Coincidence? I don't think so. My theory suggests that the time between the first color crayon and the first motion picture with colorful scenery is the time in which crayons succeeded in coloring the world. Although this theory may sound very convincing, it is unproven and should not be taken as fact. But even if it wasn't because of crayons, we live in the colorful world we do. Crayons continue to grow in popularity, and more companies continue to produce crayons. However, Crayola, the company that manufactured the first crayon ever, remains today to be the top-selling crayon producer on the market. In fact, public research reveals that 92% of mothers identified Crayola when asked to name a brand of crayons, and 100% of mothers who've purchased crayons before could draw a Crayola box from memory. Crayola crayons also come in a variety of shapes and sizes, varying from their twistable crayons that are unbreakable to their bathtub crayons, designed especially for fun in the tub. Some other companies that produce crayons are Crayons, Prismacolor, and Rosart. Rosart also produces some very unique crayons. For example, their finger crayons. These crayons have actually been proven to improve hand-eye coordination. Today, crayon-producing companies sell enough crayons in a year to construct a giant crayon with dimensions of 35 feet wide, about 100 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty. But once purchased, who uses all these crayons? And how are these crayons used? Now you may think that these billions of crayons that are purchased every year are only used for drawing brown puppies on green grass under yellow suns, or for coloring in Bambi coloring books. Although this can be very enjoyable and soothing to the mind, it's not the only thing crayons are used for, and children are not the only ones that use crayons. For example, there are actually artists that use crayons and prefer them over paints and pencils, such as Grant Wood. In the early 1900s, Grant entered a coloring contest in which you had to use crayons, and he didn't lose. Not only did he not lose, but he did so well at not losing that he got first place. Another artist that uses crayon is Don Marco. Mr. Marco was a dedicated user of the crayon. In fact, around 1970, he developed his very own, very effective method of drawing highly detailed pictures with Crayola color crayons. These are just a few of Marco's countless masterpieces. Now, the two artists just mentioned use crayons for drawing, but crayons are used for other things as well. For example, Douglas Mearns purchases around 24,000 crayons a year, of which a hefty amount are melted down for sculpting and other such artistic works. Another use for the modern color crayon is to wear them. Now, although crayons may not be the most stylish attire in the world, I don't think anyone here can honestly say they're not jealous. So we see, there are many different uses for the modern color crayon, other than drawing brown puppies and coloring in Bambi coloring books. And there are many different users of the crayon. In fact, if asked, I think we would all have to admit that at some point in our lives, we've used color crayons. But the fact that we've all used crayons is not a bad thing. For as you're about to see, crayons have greatly impacted the way that you and I draw today. Think that sounds rather improbable? Well, let's just take a quick glance at the impact crayons have on today's artistic society. Before we get started, though, let's take a look at how you might feel about crayons when we're done exploring this section of today's presentation.
Oh, crayons. I'm sorry I never realized how much a part of my life you were. I'm positively so grateful. I don't know how to express myself. It's like, oh, crayons, you're the best for drawing and you're lovely smelling, it's true. Come on, it's smashing weather for coloring together with you. Oh, crayons, your wax is appealing, you give me the feeling I'm free. Come on, it's smashing weather for coloring together with me.
Okay, well, maybe we won't take it to quite the extreme of dancing around in a big purple crayon suit and singing love songs to a box of crayons. But it is possible that you may appreciate crayons a little more when we're done exploring how they've impacted today's artistic society. So let's get started. I think we would all concur that the sooner we begin learning something, the more knowledge we'll obtain of that certain thing by the time we get older. This can be observed in various different undertakings such as music, language, and especially art. This is where crayons come in. Because crayons are exceptionally child-friendly, they allow children to start gathering artistic abilities at a very young age. So we see that if we were without crayons, we would be without these art skills we learned in the early years, which are among the best art skills we will ever acquire. For example, the average child will wear down approximately 750 crayons by age 10. This is the equivalent to about 1,500 skill-producing pictures a year, or 4.1 skill-producing pictures a day. So we can see that these early years by far are the most ability-enhancing years of our artistic lives. And without them, we would not be able to draw the kind of pictures that we are able to today. And since the only reason that we can draw these kind of pictures is because of the 4.1 pictures a day. And since the 4.1 pictures a day can be credited to crayons, you can see how crayons have had such an impact on today's artistic society. As Frank Froemming said, when we draw with crayon, we enter the child mind. This is a pivotal place of power, a place where action and vision are united, where everything is new, fresh, and without limits. Today, I hope I filled your brain with some new knowledge about the history of the crayon, some different crayon uses and users, and shown you how this little wax cylinder that so many of us forget to appreciate has had such an impact on today's artistic society. Crayon, the medium with digestible ingredients.